Hey YouTubers, Electric Adventures here, and this is, I thought, time for a general update and talky type video, so no pickups, just a general discussion on, some new ideas for a series that I've decided to start making, and also another topic I'm going to discuss is my conversion of my original titles to other systems, which I've been working on. While I'm at it, I want to do a response to Dave Lawnboy's post 1975 of what's behind my camera. I'll do that at the end. So first two new video series. Well, this in itself is one, but I mean, I'm not going to do these on once a week or something like that. Once a month, I'm just going to sit in front of the camera and talk about stuff that I've been doing that doesn't generally fit into the retro collecting, but probably more focuses on the other parts of the hobby that I like, which is the retro computers and development as well. So I hope to talk a little bit more about development and maybe even shows tools that I use and things like that. And the other series that I'm going to start, because I have a few systems, retro computer systems, and I'm going to start, and the first video will be on one that I have picked up via a trade. Video is still not up yet because I've been very busy with work, and it's going to be, I'll call it the system of the week, and I'll try and put one out. I'll usually put the footage together on a weekend and then release the video once I've done a bit of editing and things. I do want to include quite a bit of technical content for each of the videos, so show the system physically, but also show it running and show a bit of technical information of the machine and its siblings. So hope there are some people out there who would like to see those. So the very first machine, I said I won't tell you what it is because it's related to a pickup where I swapped. I actually did lower one of my console type systems by one for this particular trade, but I'm sure you understand when you see that particular video. Okay, now on to our next topic, which is retro title development. Now, some of you may know, and some of you may not know, that I released software titles for the Spectra Video computers, and also then converted those titles to the MSX computers, which were pretty much identical because they were based on the Spectra Video design. I released those titles myself, mostly on cassette tape and some floppies in Australia and some parts of New Zealand. Almost got a sales deal with ASCII in Japan, but I couldn't physically produce the number of tapes they wanted, plus the communications were a little confused. So I was a little unsure of the process, so I left it, and probably have regretted it ever since. But anyway, because I've always loved retro, I've really loved games and making games, and I feel I've sort of lost touch with that as I've gone off and done other things in the computing field. So I've picked it back up again and have started enjoying it again, enjoying it immensely. And one title I've been doing is one thing that spurred it on, I managed to get all of my original source code together. And now with more modern cross-development tools, it's a lot easier to do. And there is another system, the Colecovision in particular, that was based on the Spectra Video design. The only difference being it has a different sound chip and slightly different timing. So I've been busily converting my machine code titles that I released back in the day into a suitable form so they can be released on the Colecovision. The first title I'll be bringing out is a collection of a number of my smaller titles. Media Swarm, Birds of Orion, and Munchmania, and they won't just be straight conversions. They'll also be enhanced in the fact that I'll be able to do little tweaks to them just to make them a little better. Back in the day, all those three games were developed on a Spectra Video 318 with a tape drive, especially the first two. I probably had my Spectra Video 328 with a little bit more memory when I did the Munchmania. But one of my major restrictions back then was the Spectra Video 318 only had 12.5K to contain the code and the any memory parts you wanted to use, so it wasn't a lot of room. All three of those games happily fit in that. One of my later titles, Pixidis, only just fit in that. I actually had to cut it back quite severely to be able to release it for the 318. So when we get to that one as a release, the Pixidis will be greatly enhanced. Also, very similar to the Colecovision is the Sega SG-1000 or SC-3000. Sorry about that shortcut there, but the wind picked up quite severely. As you can see, it's quite bright here. Summer is upon us, but the sudden temperature change has resulted in quite a few high winds. Yes, I was talking about I will also be converting the titles to Sega SG-1000 and SC-3000 computers that use exactly the same cartridge. One trick there, still do need to sort out a cartridge case, and I'll be re-releasing the titles, the slightly enhanced versions, on the MSX in cartridge form as well. There is a mould for that one. It's just a matter of me contacting the person who's got the mould and getting some cartridges produced. There is actually a mob who are publishing cartridges as well. Oh, that's with the Colecovision. The Colecovision ones will be published by one of the regular publishers. So although my daughters have expressed an interest in doing some box art designs and things like that, located right down in the southern part of the world and completely away from where my main markets will be. So all I'll be doing is adding an extra postage cost onto everybody if I produce them down here. So I'm quite happy to work with those guys. But I have, and I know I said this one on the pickup, I have got this little box here. And in this box, and I've picked these for a particular colour for a reason, we have ColecoVision cartridge shells, circuit boards, EEPROM chips, and logic chip and capacitors. So I have enough components to make what will be my prototype cartridges. These prototype cartridges will always be red, whereas the ones you'll buy with boxes, instructions and everything like that will be probably a different colour, black or blue or whatever. So I'll try and make sure they don't make them in red as well. So if you ever see a red Electric Adventures cartridge, it is a prototype cartridge, and probably won't come with a box and everything like that, but there may be a few of those floating around, because I'm going to final prototype my cartridges before I release them. Sorry, had a mind blank there. Now, as far as progress in the games, over the last couple of months I haven't had as much time as I expected. I forgot about with my work approaching Christmas time. They have a thing called a change freeze, whereas after a certain point you're not allowed to release anything to the production environment, and the period just before that becomes extremely busy with everybody going, oh, we want to release all this stuff. So I've been rather busy with that, plus rather busy with my girls' end of year activities. I've got 4 children, all girls, and they're all very active. So my time gets stolen away from me, and a little bit of laziness as well, not properly setting up a development environment. But I have, it was wonderful being able to do this stuff now with a modern editor, source version control, and obviously using the emulators to quickly have a look at what you're doing. Now I've had a little with the ColecoVision. It is a little different system BIOS wise than both the Spectre Video and MSX machines, and I am writing all my stuff in pure machine code. I'm not. A lot of the more recent Coleco development's been done with a set of C libraries, but my original titles are written in machine code, so I'm not going to convert them to C, even though I'm quite a good C programmer. That's probably what I do in my day job, so I'd much prefer to stick with the Z80, with the straight Z80 programming. And also doing that, I can make them all, optimize them a lot more, and make them take up a lot less space and things like that. But the caveat to that, it may take me a little longer to do them, and it's obviously the initial phase is building up a library that works on the system. I do now have timing, which is one of the main things I was having trouble with working, and I have sound almost working. I have a couple of bugs, but once I get those libraries it took me. Meteor Swarm is fully working and working really well. Birds of Orion is ported and only has a couple of issues. As an example, I ported that after I'd done Meteor Swarm in a day, and then went into the stage of fixing up the little issues and things like that. And I don't expect much Mania to take too much time. So they're the first 3 games that are going to versus cartridge, but probably now my aim is to have it out by the end of December, release my ROM to the guys to start producing. So we're more than likely looking like an actual selling period starting sometime in January, because obviously there will need to be some time where those guys produce the artwork and boxes and everything like that, and so probably around January is when orders will start, and that'll also push back the other dates that I've listed by a month as well, but I'll go and do an update on my website. Speaking of that, I do have a website which is www.electricadventures.net, where I put updates, and I have a Facebook page specifically for Electric Adventures and the software releases. Okay, now if anybody wants to ask any specific questions about all this, feel free, comment section below, PM me, whatever, it doesn't matter, and even video responses. Now also with developments, obviously the next release is Pixidus, and the one after that is an unreleased title called Cavern Fighter, which is very much like Scramble, but I also have some other game ideas I'd like to work on, and I am also very much in retro style. May think about doing a modern version of the Pixidus concept, so on something like the Ouya or something like that, and obviously Android as well. But they're sort of long-term goals. So this channel update's probably been a bit chatty and talky. Now another thing I'd like to do is just, I've been a bit busy and haven't been able to catch up on a couple of things, so I'd like to respond to Dave's what's behind your camera. So we'll flip to this camera here, which I'll turn on, and we shall show you what's behind my camera. And yes, it is a big mess at the moment, so it's going to be very interesting. Right, so here is my recording setup, which I suppose I haven't really shown, so you can see me filming myself back there. I use this Microsoft LifeCam, which actually has very good audio pickup, and it's sitting on my desk here in the corner, which has a pile of cleaning solutions, my Namco arcade stick that I use for MAME, my soldering iron, a little hanging power board there, over to the Spectra Video 318, which I got recently, which I'm still playing with, and I've tidied up the titles that I have. I have a keyboard down there which is either wired into the Raspberry Pi in the nice case that Mark Virgia sent me, and the Raspberry Pi is hooked up via a HDMI to DVI connected to that monitor, and another one is hooked up to this PC down here. I've actually built myself a retro PC, so this is my PC running Windows XP, but reasonably high spec, so I can play some of my retro PC titles and do some articles on them, because I actually picked up some of these and then found, well, how in the world am I going to demo these? I can't even run them. So, and obviously I suppose this technically behind my camera is this mess. It's a bookshelf that I really need to clean out. I mean, up the top of my primary development books, lots of Z80 and MSX ones there, and a bit of iPhone and iStuff there. Whole shelf of CD type, magazine type disky stuff. More books. These are mainly for Atari ST, Atari 8-bit, Amiga, and some more floppy disks. And down here are magazines and calculator and some 3D glasses for our Sony TV, which I haven't used yet, and a pile of receipts. I know it's a mess. I need to clean it up. And I have a I actually do have a colour laser printer, I'm lucky at that, and round here is my work environment, which is also a mess. So anyway, I thought that'd be fun. Alright, I hope you like this new channel update type video, and I said they won't be that regular, just once a month, just to say hello and see how things are going, and let me know whether or not you like it, and the format. And alright, well, thank you to all my subscribers and putting up with my rambles, and I'll catch you all later.